Hi, Delilah. Hi, Gus is also there.
Hi
Mike.
guys.
All right, we got a good showing. Hi, everyone. Um, so for those of you that have never done this before, if you wouldn't mind muting yourself, and I'll explain in a few minutes sort of what we do. This is we run this pretty tightly, so 15 minutes is really all it's going to take. And if you want to afterwards join in on have some Q&A, if you have questions about what we're doing or how it's going, happy to make some space for that at the end, but we try to keep the practice portion just really specific. So since it's noon, we got some folks here. I'm going to go ahead and get started. So first off, welcome everyone. So we do this every day for 15 minutes, Monday through Friday. And the idea behind these sessions is you can think of it as a kind of brain and behavior training group, right? We are what we repeatedly do. And so those of us that struggle with depression and anxiety and other forms of sort of dis-ease, we have to intentionally take some time out throughout the day and activate those parts of our brain that we do want to have, you know, feel more like a default set point. And the cool thing is, it does not take that much time, but it does take some deliberate, structured practice, and that's what these groups are intended to do. So, one of the core premises here of why this works and what we're doing is this concept that neurons that fire together wire together. So everything that we experience, every thought, every belief, every emotion, every sensation that we experience, ultimately is because this amazing machine that we have between our ears, this 3 pound tofu like substance, organ, um, makes it all happen, right? So all the subjective experiences that we have. Now, unfortunately, this includes our experience of anxiety, depression, or OCD. That's because certain networks of neurons are firing and thereby stimulating a certain subjective experience. But what we are doing here is called self-directed neuroplasticity, which means that we're going to choose the type of experience that we want to subject our brain to. And guess what? The more we do that, and the more frequently we do that, the better our brain becomes at it. And slowly over time, and by slowly I mean, we do this frequently over days, weeks, and certainly months. Those neurons that we do want to have firing become stronger and stronger, and eventually that kind of becomes our new normal set point. So hold that in the back of your mind as we do this next exercise that I'm going to walk you through today. So real quickly, some ground rules. Everyone is welcome to this. So not just CIT patients or customers, but bring your family, your friends, coworkers. We want this to. This is our offering to the world. We will practice for 15 minutes. We will have Q&A after the 15 minutes are over. Video participation is optional, so if you feel shy and you just want to turn your video off, that's totally fine. You can go ahead and do that. When the Q&A session comes, you can raise your hand or write something in the chat, and then I'll get to that and we'll engage. And when we're in the Q&A, please no advice giving or cross talking. This is really, we want this to be a really safe space for everyone to have their experiences. Okay, so today's session is about compassion. Now, earlier this week, we did a similar but kind of different thematic practice. And it was a loving kindness or kindness meditation. And in a kindness meditation, what we're focusing on is trying to stimulate really positive states for people in our lives that we feel close to. And the idea is to really activate an embodied experience of that positivity. Now, compassion is a little bit different because with compassion, what we're focusing on is the suffering of other people, right? We know all of us as we go through life, we experience pain and suffering. And so this is an opportunity for us to activate the part of our neurology and our part of our being that sees the suffering and wants to actively engage in wishing well for that person that's struggling. So here's a quick definition of compassion. So it's our ability to recognize the suffering of others and to cultivate our heartfelt desire to alleviate that suffering because we recognize our shared humanity and interconnectedness. So again, this is a skill that we're going to practice. And the most important part about this as we go through it is that we really drop into an embodied experiential way of going through it. And I'm going to give you a quick preview of what we're doing here. We're going to cultivate compassion for someone that we really love. So you can start thinking about someone that you care about who might be having a difficult time. You can go back in your memory and think of someone, a period of time when someone that you love was struggling. And then we're going to start radiating out from this place of feeling this love and this compassion for this person, just someone else whom we don't know that well, who feels a little bit neutral to us. It could be someone at a local restaurant or a barista. It could be a bus driver, someone at the checkout counter at the grocery store. Again, the goal is to leverage the fact that we can feel compassion easily for someone that we love and then begin to extend it outwards to someone that we don't know that well. And then we're going to expand it to all of humanity and keep radiating out. And we are the locus of this compassion. And then the most important person that we're going to include in all this is ourself. So let's give it a shot. If this is your first time doing this, be patient. Happy to answer any questions afterwards. Otherwise, just follow along the instructions. I like to close my eyes when I do this so I can really feel and visualize what's going on. And we're going to start with someone you love. So close your eyes. Notice your breath. Notice yourself sitting in your chair. Just take a moment to settle in. Life is still waiting for you out there. For the next few minutes, we together are going to practice stimulating a part of our nervous system that will help us feel well and happy and peaceful in the long run. So see if you can really be here now and focus on the memory or the sensation of someone that you love. And in your mind's eye, I want you to imagine sitting opposite them, or maybe you're just watching them as they're going about their business. And you can sense that they're struggling, they're having a hard time. And you can think of this as a kind of a prayer or as a wish. I want you to, maybe in your mind, quietly repeat after me as you're looking at this person that you love. May you be free from pain and suffering. And notice what it feels like to say that or express that. May you be free from worry and fear. May you be free from overwhelm and doubt. And may you be free from suffering. So again, in your mind's eye, watching this person that you care about, you know they're struggling. They've been in a tough spot. It's been going on for a while, or maybe it's just a recent acute thing that's happened to them. I want you to really feel within yourself the part of you that wishes them well. You can do so by repeating these phrases. May you be free from pain and sorrow. May you be free from worry and fear. May you be free from overwhelm and doubt. And may you be free from suffering. Most important part of this exercise is not the words, but it's the sentiment, it's the felt feeling. You notice where in your body you're feeling compassion for this person that you care about. Allow this feeling of compassion to radiate out from within you. You're the radiator in a cold room. You're generating the heat, and it's coming from within you. Next, I want you to think of someone that you actually don't know very well. Like I said, it could be a barista, it could be your neighbor. It doesn't really matter. But the point here is to take this sense of compassion, this felt sense of compassion that you've been feeling for someone that you love, and I want you to see if you can extend it towards this person that you don't actually really know very well. As you can imagine, you have a shared humanity. That person also struggles and suffers and has financial worries. He's worried about being too fat and too thin, all the normal human stuff that we experience that constitutes suffering. Just like you were able to wish your friend well, I think you can wish this person well as well. So may you be free from pain and sorrow. May you be free from worry and fear. May you be free from overwhelm and doubt. And may you be free from suffering. And again, see if this can really emanate from a place within you. You don't need to know anyone really well to be compassionate. All you need to do is drop into this consciousness and this desire to wish others well who may be having a hard day, maybe having a hard life, maybe less fortunate than you. May you be free from pain and sorrow. May you be free from worry and fear. May you be free from overwhelm and doubt. May you be free from suffering. May you go about your day and your life free from suffering. And now we're going to keep going. We're going to keep extending even further outwards. We're going to imagine all of humanity, all of us stuck on this tiny little rock spinning through space. However many billions of us there are now, we all have this shared humanity where we feel pain, we feel sorrow, we get scared, we want support. We all share this. And just like the compassion we can feel for someone that we love or someone that may be closer in the vicinity of our day-to-day life, I want you to imagine zooming out all the way out into outer space and looking down on planet Earth and saying, falling to your fellow humans, may you be free from pain and sorrow. May you be free from worry and fear. Be free from overwhelm and doubt. May you be free from suffering. And we, of course, intellectually know that there's a lot of pain. There's a tremendous amount of suffering on the planet. But the point here is that we are activating the part within us that can feel this compassion. Because it makes us a better person. It makes us happier. It makes us feel better. So again, just imagining all of humanity going about their business, trying to survive. Can you be free from pain and sorrow? Can you be free from worry and fear? Free from overwhelm and doubt? Overall, may you be free from suffering. These are wishes that we're extending to all of humanity. Last but certainly not least, for ourselves. Oftentimes we feel separate from others, and it can feel easier to feel compassion towards others. And I'm hoping that as we've gone through this process and your body's familiarizing itself with what it's like to feel compassion towards someone you love, or someone that might be more of an acquaintance, the rest of humanity, let's not forget ourselves in this process. So you can say this out loud. Say to yourself as if you're looking in the mirror. Say, may you be free from pain and suffering. May you be free from worry and fear. May you be free from overwhelm and doubt. May you be free from suffering. Notice the part of you that's speaking this out loud to the person that's looking back at you in the mirror. May you be free from suffering. Oftentimes, we have a harder time doing this to ourselves, which is why I left it as the very last person for us to be compassionate towards, because I wanted to warm up the engine or prime the pump a little bit first. So remember, but in doing this, this is one of these classic practices. You can do this once a day, you can do it 10 times a day. This took about 7 minutes to do. And really, the more you do it, the more you're growing positivity. We are growing our brain tree in a way that is conducive to our wellness and our happiness and well-being. Okay, so our time is up. I just want to remind everyone that if you want to get a hold of me, want to book a session with me online just to have a chat, talk about these practices, or if there's any other support you need, this is how you get a hold of me, cntclinics.com/Ali. Otherwise, we're a little bit over time. I wish you all well. We'll meet again on Monday, same time, same place, and we'll do a different practice. And we're just going to keep doing this every Monday through Friday. And I hope to see as many of you there as possible. And if you want to stick around for some Q&A right now, I will stay on the line and answer any questions that you might have. Take care, everyone. Be well. Happy weekend.
I have a question.
Hi, Delilah. Tell me.
Hi. So I kind of have a hard time sometimes envisioning my person who's like sitting in front of me. Like I have a hard time picturing their face or picturing myself sitting at a table with them.
Yeah.
Any
So
suggestions
what to
on or alternatives on how to feel their presence without maybe being able to like see all the details of their face in front of me?
So you're not talking about yourself specifically, you're talking about other people.
Yeah, well, I started to notice it when I was trying to think of the first person, the person that I love who's struggling. I was trying to envision myself and him sitting at a table together. And then I noticed, like, then kind of again when we were doing it with ourselves, I was trying to picture myself in the mirror, and I was thinking about, 20 minutes ago when I went to the bathroom before I sat down to do this practice, I looked at myself in the mirror and was trying to remember what I looked like in the mirror, and was having a hard time remembering that.
Yeah, two things. I think one it'll get easier, right? The more we do this, the more familiar it'll become. And then another little hack that you can use is I used to get photographs of myself or other people. So you can either find one on your phone, and it doesn't have to be necessarily connected with that moment where they were struggling, but it's more like, oh, here's a picture of so and so, and oh yeah, that's helping me connect with. So, gosh, now I remember when he was having a really hard time the other day doing X, Y, and Z. It might make it more tangible. Yeah. And for extra
Okay.
credit, I went through a period of time where I chose pictures of myself when I was much younger.